Oh, they're electrocuting you.
Yeah,
So they hang you from the ceiling
yeah, like
and they're
this.
electrocuting you.
That's right on my leg, and I was just pulling my legs like this, but I couldn't, brother, because I was just so tired, you know. After they beat me up, I mean, they beat me up really bad, and they hang me there, and it was just bad, brother. Like it was crazy. So they beat me so much that when they ended up with me, I couldn't even move, bro.
You're
I
just
couldn't.
stuck.
I was just like laying there, and well, the guy that I know, the one they let me out, the one they didn't beat him up, kind of helped me. I told him like, yo, just do me a favor, just call my parents, and just tell them that I love them so much. Okay, please do that.
It's the Fit for Radio podcast here at the beautiful Stafford Hills Club, where I do all of my shows. It's where work meets play here, and the summer months are here. Yesterday, out at the pool, next level stuff. You want to get here, get on board, hit them up at staffordhills.com. And remember, family memberships are filling up fast. So if you want to be poolside with your feet kicked up, catching a bronze, staffordhills.com. Right now, I've got a great guest, not in studio, actually, our first international guest. Joining me from Mexico, my guest today is Jesus Romero. How are you, bud?
Hey, so first again, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, it's funny, I met Jesus on the beaches of Mexico, which is kind of wild. I think it was I started going there in 2011. I went there on my honeymoon, and then my wife loves Cabo San Lucas, so we would go back every year, and we started going to a different hotel, and when I went to this new hotel, I went out and was walking on the beach one day, and I ran into this guy who was, down there on the beach selling, like boat rides and water excursions and all this cool stuff, and we got to talking. And believe it or not, it'd be strange to think that you could create a friendship on the beach with a bunch of tourists when you're one yourself, but that's exactly what happened. And he has a heck of a story to tell. Jesus Romero, let's just walk through it real quick. The guy has born and raised in Mexico, traveled to America, fell into drug addiction and gangs, and then fought his way back more than one time, and has also built his own business, dealt with corruption and cartel and gangs in Mexico as well. So much to chew on here, but let's just dive right into it, all right? Jesus, now you left your home to head to Cabo San Lucas at the age of 13 in 1998. Where did you come from before that, and what was the plan?
Actually, I was just young back then, you know. I was kind of following my father, you know, because he was the one that wants to go to Cabos, you know, and stuff. Because my uncle, he has like a few boats over there, so he needed a captain. So my dad is like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, right? So I went over with it. He said, "You want to come with me?" I was like, "Well, okay, why not, right?" So we went over to Cabo San Lucas, and then pretty much I started working with my father, you know. I was to help him, you know, on the boat. He was just driving the boat, taking all the customers around, give them a little trip, you know, like nice trip. And then by then, you know, I was getting a little tip. I was like, yeah, this how
Yeah.
you see all the money.
And so the money comes before you can even speak English, right? Are you not speaking English at this point?
Oh, not at all. Actually, I just learned from a little bit from middle school, you know, like a few words like, hey, como estás? Like, how are you? You know, like few things like that, you know, but not that much.
Pleasantries.
Yeah.
So you learned as much English as a tourist learns Spanish when they're saying, buenos dias. And they think they've got the language down. But then as soon as somebody kicks into a full sentence, they're like, hold up. Everybody chill.
You're
So you're out there working with your dad, doing the thing. Now, at what point, because just a year later, you up and moved to the United States. Why?
Oh, because I mean, my dad kind of wants to go over to the United States, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come with me, son?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" Because I'm kind of always see my daddy, like he was a hardworking man, and I want to be like him, so that's why I want to follow him, and then kind of go around with them to see what it was, right? And yeah, we from Cabos, we just moved to California. It was like Livermore back in '99, yeah, when that happened, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So moving to was that a big change for you? I mean, going from Mexico to the United States, it's should be a little bit of shell shock there.
I mean, it was, to be honest, because it was kind of different, like when I got to the States, it was like all like pretty nice roads and everything, like nice houses, lights all over. It was just a beautiful, brother. Like when I see all that stuff over there, I just got all excited, and like, kind of search around, like see if I can get a job over there, like start working on the car wash. I mean, yeah, it was pretty awesome, brother, when I got to the States. Yeah.
Now, when you got there, you did work in the car wash, and you did at one point you worked in fast food. So were you just trying to do anything you can to make a little cash?
Actually, um, I kind of hang out with people from America, like a lot because I want to learn their language. I want to see what they do. I want to see what they eat, and all this stuff. So I learn a lot of stuff. Like we ate macaroni and cheese, and uh, I learn a lot with them. To be honest, like all the language with all the little homies, from the neighborhood. Yeah, pretty much.
So you're working, you're starting to get immersed in English, but you almost early on you get into some issues with some street gangs. What happens there?
Actually, it was after I got kicked out from a school because, to be honest, I always have a problem when I used to go to school. Like even in the States, I tried to go to school just to learn better, but it was a lot of people, like all over me, trying to say like bad words, like wetback and all this stuff, like oh you dirty Mexicans and all this stuff, and that was bad, bro. I gotta, like and every time people doing that to me, I'll beat the fuck out of them, to be honest. Like that's what happened every time, and then that's how I enjoyed the game, because we got little homies, they told me that, oh my God, you got a punch. And they start hanging out with me and they kind of protect me, all this
Hmm.
stuff, and I ended up with them, yeah.
Yeah, and gangs are funny like that. It's they make it seem like you're special, so we're gonna put you in the gang, right? Like
Yeah.
a good right hook goes a long way in a street gang. Is that how you got kicked out of school? Was throwing punches?
Yeah, but at the same time, I have to work, because we left my brothers behind, like my little brothers and my sister, back in Acapulco. And, my dad was working really hard, but it wasn't enough, to like support
Hmm.
them and support me as a kid. So kind of pick up one job that was on McDonald's, like in the morning to open every morning because I didn't speak no English. So I kind of find another job. It was in Burger King because my sister was a manager from Burger King, so she kind of let me be the cashier. And brother, if you heard me in the drive-thru, you would have been laughing your ass up, bro. Like I'd be like, "Hey, thank you for your chosen McDonald's. What can I do for you, sir?" Kind of like that, and like people like, "Oh, hey, I want a número uno," trying to speak to me in Spanish because I don't know what I said. It was like funny, brother. Love
But you were
it.
grinding it out. You were working, and you think about kids that age. A lot of them, especially if they're fighting uphill like a language barrier, they don't try. They don't do it. So you had a work ethic early on. Something that I noticed from you when we met later. Now break it down for me because during this time you get these jobs in fast food, you're trying to make ends meet, but you're also dabbling in drugs. Is that what you're doing? Because at some point you end up in rehab.
Okay, well, it was when I hang out with the homies, like back in California, I start like throwing punches, fighting like another gangs, I belong to the South Side 13, which is, the gang. And we always fighting against the North Siders, which is the guys wearing red. It's wearing red, blue, right? So they
Okay.
guys wearing red, so we're always fighting with them. So, I kind of ended up with them and, I started like, meeting all the drugs, which I was crack back in the days. It wasn't like methamphetamines. It was like lower, like a different, but they
Mm-hmm.
were the same drugs, but it was kind of. So, I'm kind of tried that out, kind of gave me like, yeah, like excited about it. Every time I kind of smoke it, kid was smoking all this stuff. And, kind of, um, so I know all the dealers, because some of it, they're Americans, right? So they don't speak no Spanish. So some of them are Mexican. So I speak the language. So I was the plug with all my Mexican amigos, they're like, hey,
Ah,
Jesus, can you get some for me? Oh, sure, I just buy $20 and I'll charge them like $60, kind of make like, my money, yeah. And
yeah.
and I got so excited, with all the drugs and all this stuff, kind of gave me start stealing from the store, like, gotta go to the store and stealing things like t-shirts, like whatever, like I was just going to the store pretending I was shopping, like, just
Mm-hmm.
dressing nice, with a big car full of food, and all this stuff and, drink a little something my way, like I was shopping, but I wasn't. I was just getting my breakfast in the morning, pretty much for free.
And when you're doing those types of drugs, you're more bold, and you think you're smooth too. It's like, oh yeah, I got this. And in this day and age with all the cameras and everything, you'd be caught in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But back then, you could, as long as you kept your cool, you could move around and steal whatever you wanted.
And to be honest, I was good at them.
Well, you got to use your talents in some form. So, all this behavior, eventually, your mother had gotten wind of your behavior. Is that what happened?
Actually, no, I'll tell you how that happened. Like I was on the stage, right? I was around 16 years old, I think. Yeah, around 16 years old. So my dad called my mom, that I was like I wasn't working, I was just hanging out with the homies and I wasn't doing nothing. So she's like, hey, your son is just being crazy out here. I'm gonna send it over to Mexico with you. So my mom is like, okay, you send him down. So he bought me a plane ticket. So I moved to Acapulco back again with my mom. But I was the older guy, of the family. So, my brother, my second brother is like 2 years younger than me, right? So I was the main guy when I got home. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'll drive on my dad's car, kind of get on my mama's money. So who give it stuff, because I was the one. So, so I was already addicted, and stuff when I got home. So, I was getting all crazy, fighting things, shooting people, it was just crazy over there. One time up, we went to downtown from our little town, so with the homies. So we went over and we got a taxi. So it's hey, give us take us over to our home or whatever. We'll pay you special, or, whatever. So we pay him and he take us. So we ended up still in the taxi, brother. I mean, we didn't do nothing to that guy. We just stopped by at the candy shop. Let's call that up
Okay.
with a taxi driver in the back, brother. So we get all this stuff and then we just went to our little town, and like probably 5 minutes away, we just left the car and the guy, and we throw the keys away. So and then we are getting all like I was getting all crazy out there. So my mom ended up like thinking like put me in rehab. So so it's how I ended up in rehab because I was just getting crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when once you start stealing cars to go to the quote unquote candy shop, it's probably time to reel it in a little bit. And your mom was probably a little frightened. You come back to town, she doesn't know you have these issues, and all of a sudden you're all off the edge a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd probably throw you in rehab too.
yeah, and there was like to be honest, like it was good at the same time, but I mean, it was good because they'll tell you, like, hey, you gotta be good in life, this and that. But it's bad at the same time because they hit you over there. You know what I mean? So they put chains on your legs. I mean, it's just crazy, brother. You know what I
In
mean?
rehab,
In rehab, brother. Yeah, that's how crazy it is.
that
Yeah,
sounds like
because
jail.
no, it's just worse than jail, brother. Like honestly, if I was in jail, I think I'll be the king. If I was in rehab, man, I don't know who I'd be over there, brother. It's just crazy.
That's wild because here, if you go to a rehab facility, it's like It's like a hotel basically where they're weaning you off the drugs and they're giving you the skills that you need, but there's no chains or it's all free will. Now, granted, you were still a minor, and I don't know how the rules work in Mexico, but you could lock a kid up in rehab under 18. I actually visited a friend of mine in rehab, and there was the dressers were chained to the wall so nobody could throw them over. The TV was
Yeah.
drilled into the wall so you couldn't rip it off and, throw a fit. So it is a little different when it's a kid. How old are you at that point?
Well, I was like 17, around 16, 17. Yeah, 17, I think. Yeah, I was underage back then.
So when you get out of rehab, and you got a second chance in the United States, you
Uh,
eventually got to go back?
Actually, when I got well, when I was in rehab, my dad was already home. He was already home with my mom.
Okay.
So I was in rehab, everything was great at home, but it wasn't like when they were thinking, because I was just
Mhm.
like, I was just getting hit by people, by crazy people just like me, without and then I couldn't do anything about it, because I just got hit by them, because what are you gonna do when you locked up? You can do nothing. You just gotta listen
Mhm.
what they say and do what they say. So like, so they gave me a little chance, to be the man in charge inside, like inside the building, So they kind of trust
Yeah.
me a little bit. Like 2 months after I was, in it. So I met this girl inside the rehab, She was a pretty girl, like a white girl, just a pretty girl there. And she started talking to me, kind of fell off with that, fell in love with her. And then we just walk away, brother. So I just opened the whole group. I just let everybody out and I just walk away with her.
Wait, you let
I
everyone out of the
escaped.
rehab?
I did.
You
I
wait, so
did.
you were in charge of a rehab escape.
I was the second guy on the place, like it was a one guy. So, he gave me a chance to be outside with them, smoking a cigarette, blah, blah, blah. So I told him, I was like, either way, I smash your ass and we bounce, or you bounce with us. And then he said, no, I'll walk away, brother. Go ahead. All right, perfect. So I let everybody out, even the people that are crazy, like out of his head, brother. Like people talking about, like, yo, give me a cookie, man. What's up? People crazy like that, bro. I said, hey, you want
So
to come out?
so why did you let them all out?
Just because I was mad, brother. I was mad with all that stuff that they're doing inside, to be honest. That's
So
the
you were like,
reason why.
I've
And I
I've
was
had it. So
17.
so what happened as a result of that? Did you get in big trouble for that?
Oh, of course, brother.
Like with the
Yeah.
law or with your parents or what
No, that
happened?
was with the guys on the group because there's like all together, to be honest, they work with the bad people too. So you know what I mean? So there was like 2 days after I escaped, um, I called my mom. I said, Mom, I want to be done with this. I don't want to be running away. I just want to be home with you. I'll be good in life. I promise. Blah blah blah. And all this stuff. So it's all right. Just come home. And then you'll be good. I said, all right, perfect. So I told well the girl, she went with me to this place, to the mortgage place. There was one door. So she walked through, and I didn't know it was another door in the other side. So she left me there, brother.
Oh my.
She did.
She,
She
she
used
snuck
me.
it on you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So she got me and pretty much came home and I was with the homie, because he was one guy with me the whole time, he was like, he's following me and like he was with me or whatever. So I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go back home, My mom is cooking mole. I remember chicken mole with the white rice. So he said, you wanna come in? I told him, you wanna come in over? You wanna come over? For sure, no problem, let's go. He said, are you sure, man? Yeah, if you want to, I'm just go back home. All right. So he went with me. It was crazy. So when we get back home, we just ordered a taxi and then we just tell them we'll pay when we get there, we just run away when we got out of the taxi, just to make it home.
You are at this point you're just doing anything that comes to your mind, right? Like so if you want to go here, you're just going to go there and if there's consequences, whatever.
Yeah. And so I ended up with my mom, with my homie. So, I remember I was sitting on the table with them, this part of the chicken mole and all this stuff down on the table. And I was like, oh my God, I tried the first one, first cook. I looked back, that was that fat guy in the back. I was like, boy, I looked back. He was just like, hey, what's happening? Long time, buddy. I was like, oh my God, brother. I don't know, man. Like, I had this feeling like right here when I see that mother in the back, I know I was going back to the rehab, brothers.
So
So what?
this big guy's from the
It was,
rehab.
yeah, it was a godfather, they call him godfathers. So, and they kind of tell you all this stuff, but that guy was a bad guy. It was a godfather, but the evil one, brother. Like he worked with all those guys. I mean, it was,
So did your mom call them and tell them that you were there
yeah, I
then?
was coming, yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like make
yeah,
him a nice meal, set the trap, and
yes,
well, and
it is.
you look at that and it's like, oh, why would my mom do that to me? Well, she was probably super afraid of what you were gonna do, what was gonna happen to you. Because if you're taking taxis and running away, and like anyone who upsets you, you're throwing a punch, like you're gonna end up dead, or somebody's gonna kill you, or something's gonna happen. Like you're on a crash course at
Yeah.
this point. So
Hmm.
she does get you back into the rehab. What happens to you after that?
Well, when I got back, so they take me back. So they got a little small old Beatles. So they put me inside the car and they take me back to rehab. So when I got over there, brother, that's when the nightmares start. Like when the
Nightmares.
nightmare, yeah, nightmares. Okay, so yeah, so they're like, okay, so you walk away. So now come over. So they come and bring me inside. They kind of hang me on a piece of pole. They put me in the what do you call it when they give you a shot with the electricity, like
Oh, they're electrocuting you.
yeah,
So they hang you from the ceiling
yeah, like
and they're
this.
electrocuting you.
That's right on my leg, and I was just pulling my legs like this, but I couldn't, brother, because I was just so tired. After they
Hmm.
beat me up, I mean, they beat me up really bad, and they hang me there, and it was just bad, brother. Like it was crazy. So they beat me so much that when they ended up with me, I couldn't even move, bro.
You're
I
just
couldn't.
stuck.
I was just like laying there, and boy, the guy that I know, the one they let me out, the one they didn't beat him up, kind of helped me. I told him like, yo, just do me a favor, just call my parents, and just tell them that I love them so much. Okay, please
Oh,
do that. So so he called them up, and I didn't know what happened. So I know that he called. I know he called. So I woke up. I was at the hospital. So I woke up, I said, what? I look around, my mom was there, and I was like, no way. I thought I died already, because I looked and that was my mom and my dad. I was like, what? So I kind of touched him to see if that was real, man. I was
you
just
thought it
like,
was a dream or something.
yeah, because I fell asleep. And then right after that, I was just woke up and I was at the hospital. I was like, what?
That
Yeah,
is
it was like,
wild. The Fit for Radio podcast is brought to you by Motorsport Hillsboro, and you got to go in and see these guys. They've got the gas electric mountain bikes down there, and they're flying off the shelf. And why? Well, right now, you can get the gas G Light Trail 2.0. This is a badass bike, and it's just $21.99 right now. That's nearly $3,000 off MSRP, and you can only find it at Motorsport Hillsboro. Lightweight frame, powerful motor, and built for the trails. It's no joke. Get yours now before it rides away without you. MotorsportHillsboro.com, the hardest place you'll love to find. So when you see them in there, they've been notified that you got extremely hurt. Is that how they got there? When they made a phone call to them, did they just realize that something was wrong?
oh, yeah, because the guy called them and they told him that I wasn't good at all. So he didn't tell what happened because you're not allowed to say what happened, because if you say what happened, I mean, I don't know, but
Then
you're
people
not
can get in
supposed.
trouble. It's a
Yeah,
don't ask, don't tell type of a
that's
situation.
right. Yeah, that's what they hide over there. Yeah, and
So after your parents come and get you, nothing ever happens to the rehab people for electrocuting you and all of that stuff?
no, to be honest, no, because I didn't want to say nothing because I know if I tell the government, it would be bad because they're with them. So I already know what's the whole history of. That's why.
And that's the problem in a corrupt society is you can't just do what's right and then just say, okay, well they're breaking the law. Like they don't care. So
Yeah,
it's one of those deals where you're kind of in it for yourself.
that's
Now,
right.
what happens with you? Because at some point you do get to go back to the United States.
Yeah, actually, like when I got out of rehab, when I got out of the hospital, with my mom and dad, he's like, "Hey, you want to go with me back to the States?" I was like, "Sure," you know. So, kind of went back to the States with my dad because I don't want to like give my mom no more problems, you know, because she already had enough, you know. So
She's
I just
worn out
decided to,
on your behavior.
so you know, I decided to like kind of walk away. So we went back with my dad to the States, you know, and then kind of started working, you know, for a little bit. But I already made all that stuff, so kind of got back again, you know, and then started like doing all these fights and stuff.
So you fall right back into drugs and drug distribution, things like that. So you're making good money, but you're also breaking the law in America as well.
But I was an illegal immigrant. So, you know, when you get arrested, what they do, they just put you on a hold for ICE. So they send you every Thursday, like, you know, to Mexico. They have an illegal today. Okay. So they kind of write you down and they kind of put you on ICE custody. That way, you go to
Mm.
Mexico. Mm-hmm.
So and then you just get kind of dumped in Tijuana, which
Mm-hmm.
is a I'll be honest, I've been through Tijuana a couple of times and it's straight out of a movie. Like when you go into that place, like you used to have to, now I think they've got, like this freeway that kind of like takes you past all the stuff. Back when I first started going there, you just had to drive through the muck if you wanted to go to like Rosarito, and so
Yeah.
Rosarito's nice, but it's like you had to get through that to get there. And I mean, now granted, I was just like some standard issue white kid, but like I was frightened driving through there. The thought that you were there existing day to day, was that a pretty rowdy time for you?
I mean, it wasn't too bad, to be honest, because when I got there, I already belonged to the gang. Like I already had like my tattoos and everything, all my stripes. So when I got there, you know, like you always have a family. So I got there with them, and then hey, welcome. So you know, kind of start making your money. You know, that's when you do a little hustle here and there. You know.
Hmm.
Yes.
And so are you still selling drugs in Tijuana? Is that how you're making your money, or how
No,
are you making money?
no, actually, I wasn't selling drugs in Tijuana. I was just like hooking people up with things, you know, like if you need something, I'll probably let you know what it is, you know, like a customer service kind of thing, but on the neighborhood.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Well, you've always kind of had that sales knack, like when I met you, even, you have a personality that's inviting and it draws people in. So even in that world, I'm sure that also served you well, right? Like anyone could come and see you. You got the big smile. I'll take care of
Oh
it.
yeah,
Boom, boom, boom.
of course,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you are into the drugs though because you get pretty messed up with them, right? Like at some point you're all skinny and strung out.
Yeah, actually, yeah, when I got deported, you know, and then, you know, I was in Tijuana, kind of started like doing drugs back again, but it was methamphetamines, you know, smoking all the stuff. And you know, every time you get high, you always want to get more, and then you always got to figure out how to get more. So
Hmm.
every time I get high, you just go to the neighborhood and they check it out, who was new there, or who's coming over to visit from the states. You know, I kind of hook up more people from the states. You know, they're coming across the border. That'll be more easier to make more money there. You know, what the
Yeah, that makes
because
sense. But your family gets wind that you're in some trouble again, right? Like because your brother comes to Tijuana at some point. What happens there?
yeah, actually, my brother, he was already living in Tijuana, like my brother. So he was already living there. So, and then he was buying a car for his father-in-law back in Cabo. So I talked to him, and he's like, "Brother, my mom told me uh, she want me to go get you, and then if you don't want to come with me, she's gonna come over to get you." I was like, "All right, I'll come in with you." So you know,
Yeah, you
on the
take
Mexican.
option one when mom's about to show up in Tijuana and
Oh
drag you
yeah.
out of there.
That's right. Yeah, you don't want to make that chancla right up on your head, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't make you look as tough in the gang when your mom grabs you by the ear and pulls you out of the room. The,
That's right. Not at all.
so he comes and he gets you, and this is a transition for you because now it's 2007, and you are heading to Cabo San Lucas.
That's right. Yeah, I was like hitting the Cabo San Lucas. Yeah.
And you, when you got back there, you returned to the Cabo Marina where it all started with your dad and all that. But now you've got the English language as a
Yes.
weapon for you, and you spoke it well, and that goes a long way. Like as a tourist, when I'm around on the beach, it's very comforting when you're not fluent in Spanish when somebody can speak the language and speak our language. And so, and that's what one
Yeah.
of the things
You
that
feel
drew
more
me to you.
comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you do then? Do you immediately start working for somebody or what do you do?
Actually, first I start hustling over there. I met this guy, like I always do. I just met this guy, and then he was a man in charge at the marina. I mean, a boardwalk, not like at the beach, the boardwalk.
Yep.
So he was in charge there, and then he see me every day. He's like, "Yo, what's up? Good morning," kind of approach me every time, like, "What's up, man? You want a soda?" I was like, "No, I'm good. I just had a bottle of water, bro. The thank you." He always trying to invite me. So finally, one day, I fell. And then I ended up with him, kind of chill. He's like, "Yo, you speak very good English, man. Like these guys from the cruise ship, we can make it back." I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." And it was kind of music to my ears. I was like, "Oh, money,"
Yeah.
So I was like already on it. He gave me a few bags, of this, few bags of that. So, I was just along, making all the money there. But I was just like, whatever money I was making, I was just using it to myself, like basically smoking all the money.
So
So
you would just wait for the cruise ships to arrive and then you would sell bags to them?
yeah, you just bro, they just look for whatever they can get, bro. Even you can sell it a horse shit if you want to. This how
Yeah.
crazy it is.
I know. And well,
But
and people on a cruise ship, they come in and they're just licking their chops. It's like they want life in excess because they're about to go get stuck on that boat again.
that's right. They just need all the stuff to be tweaking on the boat.
So how long do you do this operation before you
Actually,
switch it up?
actually, it was like not too long because probably a couple of weeks later, his boss, which it was his cousin, he got busted on a suburban with like thousands of pills. And you know how he got busted? Because he forgot to pay the rent of the car, brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Little mistakes, big problems.
Oh yeah. So that's
S- So that
good.
was the end of the cruise ship plan. At some point, you end up going back. You head to the beach, right? Or what happens where you go back into like selling experiences? Do you try other things first, or what happens?
Actually, I remember when my brother came to my apartment when I was living with that guy, because I was living with him, and I was all tweaked out, just laying on the ground, like all tweaked out. And my brother came. He's like, "Hey, I just came to grab my brother." So he tell my buddy, he's like, "Why?" He said, "Yeah, because I just want to take him home, because he's not good." Oh, but he owed me rent. He owed me this. He owed me that. So he pulled out money out of his wallet. Here, if it's enough, if it's not, don't worry. I'll come back. I pay. Man on my word. All right. So I hop in the car with my brother. Kind of went to his house. Actually, I live in his house. For like probably 3 weeks. With his wife and his whole family there. Because I have a place to stay. So start walk after that, I kind of realized I was like, man, this is not for me at all. I was just by myself, like, no kid, no what, nothing. I was just by myself. I was just a twig. I was like, man, I gotta find a way to do something with my life, just one night just came up. So I woke up in the morning, just get ready, just go to the marina. And I remember I asked this guy if he can give me a ride over to Rio, just to drop me off there on the beach. And I said, yeah, sure. So he take me over. So I kind of went to Rios, and that was actually I went to the hotel. That was my first job there. I work at the hotel and a Scuba Caribbean. Actually, the activities place from Rios, from all the Rios. I
So
used to
people who
work there.
don't know, the Ryu Hotel, there's a couple of them all next to each other. Now there's three, but it's a massive facility with a whole, everyone hangs out on the beach out in front of these places, but they're all right there on the ocean, 1, 2, 3. And the Rio, did you work at the Santa Fe?
Actually, I was on the Palace because they were like
Ooh,
finished building a Santa Fe back then. They were just finished like building it. So they just got
yeah.
to do all the paint and everything. Yeah.
So you were doing what you were selling excursions for them.
Actually, I was the man in charge of the jet skis place because I was the one that speak the language. So I
Oh,
was in
nice.
charge there. And but they didn't give me that much. They'll give me like 3% of the sales. I was like, what? This so
Three
much they'll give
percent.
3% of my
That's
check,
awful.
every 2 weeks. My fat check.
Oh
three
yeah.
thousand pesos, which I was like $150 for 2 weeks.
So
I was like, "Duh."
so did you get annoyed with that pretty quick and want to get out of there? Or?
Actually, no, it was crazy how this happened, brother. Because one time I was the 15. We were getting paid that day, right? So I didn't get paid. So they give me the check on the 16 in the morning when we're supposed to go put gas on the jet ski just to take them back to put them on the rent, right?
Yep.
So I went over there with my check the next day. So I stopped by the marina. I left the jet ski there, run to the bank, cash my check so I can send money to my mom. So, there. So kind of, and I didn't know that I was the man in charge walking along the marina with he's a little gay dog, little Chihuahua, like, walking around. So he see the jet skis, he see the number, he called the office. Who is driving jet ski number 6? Oh, Romero. Oh, okay, perfect. He didn't say nothing. He just went back to the hotel. So by the time I got back to the hotel with the jet ski full of gas, with the he was out there waiting for me. So I said, okay, you're the one, huh? At the marina. I was like, yeah, I just went to cash my check, boss. And happy. He said, no, don't call me boss no more. You fire. I was like, what do you mean? He said, yeah, you fired. So I was like, what do you mean you fired? What I did wrong? He said, you have the jet ski at the marina. Was nobody on the jet ski. I mean, and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, but I was out there for a reason. I went to cash my check because you're supposed to pay me yesterday and you didn't. You pay me today. That's why I was over there. Nope, you fired anyways. I was like, okay, if you want me to walk away, you walking with me by my side. Otherwise, make me. That's what I told him. I was a big guy, brother, like a big skinny guy. I was just ready to be like, boom.
Okay. You were
I was
going
just,
back to your old ways here. You're like, I'm throwing another punch.
so I walk away and they fire me. So a few days after I got fired, I was just working at in front of the Rios, right on the beach, just for myself, just to make a little commission, just to tell the Rio that they cannot do anything with me, because I was out there. I mean, I
Yeah.
was just so I was just working with them, and all of a sudden, this guy came up to me, and I was like, "What's up?" That was just these guys from the beach, the owners from Natalia Juarez Place Company. So that was the brother of the owner. So he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here, man? You're not supposed to be here." I was like, "What do you mean?"
Because it's all territorial, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody, your spot is your spot. And that's why you
Mhm.
find the same people in the same spot because like you sell at this point, like you want to sell excursions right here. You can't go down 5 hotels and do it. That's somebody else's spot.
That's right. So they were already their territory because they were already there. When I got to the Rio, to be honest, they were already there. So we always like had little issues like, "Hey, this is my customers, man. Just don't."
Yeah.
And I was working at the Rio, so I was like, "Hey, just don't cross the line. Just stay outside." They all fucking fighting for the Rio. So it was just crazy. So he came up to me and he said, "Okay." He's like, "So how do you gonna handle this?" I was like, "You tell me, boss. You the one came up to me, so you tell me how do we handle this." And he looked at me. He looked me up because he's a little shorter. So he looked me up and he's like, "Okay, how about this?" I was like, "What? How about if we work with us? I'll give you a good deal on the water taxis, and then you make a good commission. You send the people to me." Sure. And I have a shirt for you. I have a shirt for you. So he gave me a shirt, a brand new shirt, a white one. I remember Natalia Water Sports. It was my first shirt. And so they see me, bro, like filling up all their boats, and I was just one person sitting at the corner, when there was everybody together on the other side. So I was just by myself doing my thing, bro, counting all the money. So yeah.
So you end up doing pretty good there.
Mhm.
Because you're rocking and rolling, and don't you work a deal where you get some sort of like a weekend deal, like because weren't they closed for a day
Okay.
of the week?
hmm Actually, it was so after I got that shirt. So, I kind of bring my brother over, like my brother Elsie, the one that saved me over, so I'll kind
Yeah,
of bring him over and say, hey, you want to work with me over there, man? I got this spot. I know these guys. So, sure, sure. So I bring him over and he started working with me. So he was my plug. And I was two of us there, with my brother. So, time passed by, a few months, we're working, we're good. So the guys he sees, like the owner, he's like, no, I was the one that I seen the company, they were taking the day off on Sunday. So they were working Sunday at all. So I was just me and my brother just making all the commission with no jet skis, no boats. It was just crazy, man. I was like, wow. So we put them on the table, one time we're like, yo, Max, what do you think if we work on Sundays, Just give us a little something, You send the guys over with us and the trucks, all the jet skis, and we'll take care of the rest. Don't you worry. Okay. So yeah, one time the first Sunday, yeah, we came out with like 5 grand, brother. And you know how
damn.
much commission was for us? It was 20%. So of those 5,000, you get like $1,000. Divided by two, it was like 500 each. So I'll give my brother 500, I get 500, plus whatever we make that commission that day, but ooh, that was just crazy. And like all his family, like his nephews and his cousins, they were hating because why you let him take care of your business? We're your family, we're your nephew, this and that. Why them? He's like, because they are smarter than you guys, that's why. And they're like
And that's
hating him.
right. Well, and you
hmm
do so well that you actually get yourself dialed in with a Cadillac Escalade with rims and the sound system, and you were
Yes,
even
sir.
starting to looking at properties. I mean, you were doing pretty well.
Yeah, because we're making pretty good commission, and I was smart enough to figure it out how to spend that money in something good that is gonna be probably good in few years. So I would just
Hmm.
probably piece of land and then start buying my first piece of land. That's where we build our house, my house, your house, anytime. And so that was the first house that we built, and we bought the house. And I was already with my girl when we bought our first house because she was the one kind of point me to the right way. Right after I was making all the money, I always need someone smarter. So she was the one. Like she got up
Hmm.
there. Yes.
And having a good spouse or, a good lady in your life goes a long way. They keep you grounded, they keep you from going back off the rails. You think about you've come a long way at this point from that guy who's all dilapidated in Tijuana, strung out, laying on the ground to where you are now, where you've got cash, you've got a lady, you've got a business, you've got a
Yeah.
plan. I mean, you probably felt like you had made it or you had survived the hurricane.
Yes.
The Fit for Radio podcast is brought to you in part by Motorsport Hillsboro, which you got to go in and see them. The inventory of everything off-road is right there for you, including the gas electric mountain bikes. And you can go all the way up to the trail-ready, aggressive bike that is 60% off, going for $21.99 right now. That's nearly $3,000 off MSRP. The only thing better than hitting those trails is knowing you got a sweet deal. Lightweight frame, powerful motor, and of course, built for the trails. Check them out today at motorsporthillsboro.com, the hardest place you'll love to find. Also brought to you by the Stafford Hills Club, where I record all of my shows, and it is pool season. So why not get on board and get yourself out there by their saltwater pool? The grill opens soon, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And remember, family memberships do fill up. So you want to get on board before you end up on a wait list and you're watching from the sidelines while the rest of us have a great summer. Hit them up today at staffordhills.com. And it's going so well for you at this point because you've got it dialed in. But Max, the owner of Natalia Water Sports, he was falling into hard times himself, drugs and some sketchy women. What was happening?
Actually, you know how he was making all the money, you know? Like we'll bring him all the money every day because he got a pretty good employees, you know. So we give him a pretty good amount every day. So he ended up with some girls, you know, like younger girls, you know, buying some a brand new bag, you know, like some clothes and all this stuff. Give them all the money, getting all
The
tweaked out.
sugar daddy is what we would call it
Gotcha.
here.
Okay, okay, yeah, he was a pretty good sugar daddy because he was giving away pretty good prices, to
Hmm.
be honest. So he got all the and all those drugs, you know, he got all tweaked out, and he started selling like all his company by part. He started selling all the boats to all the people like around the marina, like and stuff like that. And he just barely had a last boat, you know, and he kind of pushed me to buy it because I didn't want no problems, to be honest, because I know how he is. When he get all like that, you know, I mean, it was a big guy too. So you know what I mean? So we get all tweaked out. I mean, I know how he was. So I was like, you know what? It's no point. So he come up like, yo, just buy my boat, man. I got out the shop, bro. You got your truck. Just take it to the pawn shop and then you good. So I went over my house. So that day I didn't say nothing. I'll tell you tomorrow, bro. Don't worry. Just let me work. Let me put some things together and I'll tell you. So I got home, then I asked my mom, my dad, my brothers, everybody, like, hey, I should buy the boat or what? Ah, don't even buy problems. Don't even buy in that boat because that's you buying problems for yourself. I was like, what? Okay. So I came home, you know, used to see my wife, and you know, I remember saying, baby, Max want me to buy his boat. What do you think? I think should buy it. If you want to buy it, let's do it. And I told her, I said, hey, but you got to be ready because you got to walk. Because I'm going to take the truck to the pawn shop. You got to take her kid on the bus to the kindergarten. He said, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm fine. He said, don't you worry. She was there.
So
And I said,
you had to sell your car to buy the boat.
actually, I'll take it to the pawn shop. And I got it back right after. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
take
you
it to the
did.
pawn shop for like, they'll give me like, it was like 35. Yeah, it's for the $3,500. And I just got it back for like 4,000, like a few months later.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So you lost a little bit of cash, but you were able to buy the boat that you wanted.
Yeah, actually, I just give him whatever I have, you know, all the money. We just signed out the contract. I didn't know if he had the boat or not. I was just his word. So we went over and then find the boat, and then, you know, he had it. So, you know, we give him all the money. We went over to get the boat, and the engine was at some place. So I just got it back with another $500 because, you know, so I just put them all together, and that was the first boat that we buy from Max. Yeah.
And so you ended up that wasn't the end of buying boats though, because that just start the a new plan, a new process for you?
Actually, when I bought the first boat, it was actually he kind of paid half of the boat with his money because he was like working like kind of for me, like sending all the whale watching tours on my boat. So every time he sent like 10 people, and it was like 5,000, they have to pay me. So just keep it, just write it down, just keep it, just write it down, and that's how he paid us. He's like for the boat itself, yeah.
So
He
you
paid
just
for it.
kind of built up those credits, and then when you had enough credits, you got more of his boats because you get Natalia 1 and then eventually Natalia 2.
Yeah, actually, I just bought the boat, but like the rest of the people that buy the boats from him, they changed the name of the boat. You know, it was they changed it to Natalia, to Carla, or whatever. So
Yeah.
they changed it up all the names, and I wasn't. I was the only one that kept the name. I was has the name. It's already like on it. It's already on the air. You know, why not? Just keep
It's
it.
already established, people know it.
So I kind of kept it, and then yeah, with the first boat, like every whale watching season, kind of give me enough to buy another boat. So we bought a brand new one from Sinaloa. We just ordered it how we wanted. You know, he said, "Hey, you want a bathroom one?" I said, "No, it's just a boat to ride around. You know, kind of chill. You don't want to be sitting on a boat and someone is like dumping it. You know what I mean? Like no." So
Hmm.
we just bought the second boat, and pretty much right after we went to the third one. Yeah.
So you've got a fleet of 4 boats at one point. Is that what you got up to?
Yeah, actually, we had four boats, and we had one big boat. It was like a yacht. It was, for like 8 people, but it's broken, so we kind of just bring it over to the company to fix it.
So you do so well that you're able to build a workshop, you bought a house and a
Hmm.
truck,
Hmm.
purchased a larger boat with cash to bring in as a new project. I mean, right there, you're doing very well for a guy who started off just grinding in the marina or on the beach in Mexico. But there is a shift where something happens, and now there's always, as an American, we always fear that somebody's going to extort us when we go there, or somebody's going to get you into a situation where now you have to pay to get out of it or whatever. It's just, and whether it happens or not, I've been to Mexico so many times and it's never happened to me. I've been through some sketchy stuff and you know that. But at the
Yeah,
same time, um, it, it's one of those things where it's always in the back of your mind, and it's people who are from Mexico aren't safe from that necessarily because at some point somebody comes to you and wants money.
yeah. Actually, the first person that asks you for money, it'll be the government. Because if you don't have your papers right, I mean, they just stop, at your office or at your place or whatever, and they kind of be like, okay, you don't have your permit, this and that. But if you will make this amount of money every week, um, you're good to go. So,
So it's not just the criminals, it's also the cops.
oh yeah, it is the cops and the criminals together. They is like, they had a big gang, man, like a big one right now. It's just taking all over Mexico, brother. I don't know if you see that on the news, but probably you see a few chapters on the news of what
Yeah,
happened in
we see the
Mexico.
more dramatic stuff, and but it's the little things that go on day to day down there that have gotten a little sketchier even from when I started going there in 2011.
Yeah.
Beyond the government, like, because you kind of have to pay them, right? Like, if they come to you and tell you you need to pay, you can't just like, you can't throw that right hook that you love so much.
Oh no, you can't. Not at all. Because I mean, you can. You still
You can
can.
throw the
Be,
punch, you can
yeah, you
throw it.
can. Yeah, you can knock him out and just walk away, but don't come back.
That's so true. So, what happened? Because at a point, armed men working with corrupt officials showed up demanding money from you.
Actually, yeah, that's they just come over to you and they're like, okay, man, you're working over here, you're making this much, you gotta give me this much a month. If you don't, you know what's gonna happen. And pretty much, I mean, what do you do? I mean, you just gotta do it.
So, but you push back on this, though, don't you? Like, you you tell them you're not going to pay at some point.
Yeah, because they want like so much. They want like around $300 a month. So, just for me to work there. And I say, nah, you know what? I've been in so much stuff already that I'm not gonna pay anything, because I mean, I'd rather not work than pay them,
Yeah,
because
you're working to give them the money.
hmm I mean, it's no point for me to be like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Hey, let me help you spend your money. So I want to give it away, Mm-mm. I'd rather
And
be lazy.
you can't go to the authorities because it's the same issue where it will just escalate the problem. They are part of the problem, so
Hmm.
going there just makes your issue bigger.
Oh yeah, because if you go to the police and you tell them what happened, what they do, they call them and they tell them like, okay, Romero came down and he was talking about you. He was saying all this, all that, and yeah, pretty much this how they are. And yeah, pretty much it's bad.
So what do? You decide to say no, but they start to push back.
Actually, when I say no, when they did, they didn't say nothing that minute, but I can see like when they came over to my house, and probably they were looking for me. But I was at the we were having a dinner in town with my girl and kids that night when they came down, and they pretty much break into my house, pretty much looking for me, because
Did they ransack the place? Did they throw
Oh,
your
they
stuff
break all
around?
the doors, they steal everything. They were searching my house because they were thinking that I have like so much money and all this stuff, but people were thinking, I guess. And yeah, they search everything. And yeah, pretty much they stored everything over there, yeah.
Now, there was some other things too. Didn't in this process they went after your brother-in-law?
Actually, yeah, because they were looking like for some of us, you know. So they went over to my brother-in-law's house. That was actually my sister's house. And they found my brother-in-law and they beat the fuck out of him just because they couldn't find me, I guess.
They just wanted to
So
prove a point or deliver a message.
yeah, they just want to deliver a message, I guess, and then they were looking for me, and then they got so mad, and that's why they did that, I guess. I
How
don't
bad
know.
did they beat him?
Oh, they beat him up really bad, bro. He is barely walk. Like his legs are all fucked up. Like his body is so fucked up. He is barely walks. I mean, finally, you know, like he walks better. But back in the days, bro, when I saw him, man, that was bad. You know.
And that's frustrating, that's your family, those are your people, and, like, the last thing you want is for them to get hurt, and then this happens, and the people who are doing it in your name, which is completely unfair, because it's like, they're trying to hurt the people you care about, but it's probably weighing on you that he's hurt because of you,
Yeah.
and it's not your fault, but it's like, y you
Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of my fault because the problem started up with me, not with them. I mean, it's
yeah,
not all the way, but kind of, I feel
mhm,
a little guilty there, because they couldn't get me and they get somebody else. It's kind of bad, like.
yeah. So what do you
And then,
do? Because I mean, I would be really afraid now, right? Like, because they're looking for you. They find
mhm.
someone who's not you and they beat the crap out of them. So it's like, are you afraid? Because I'd be afraid for my kids and for my wife and for everything else at this point.
Actually, that's the reason I kind of move away out of the state because
So
of
you
that,
decide to
because
leave Cabo,
yeah, to be honest, because it's not worth it. To be honest, because they cannot get what I have, which is this. You know what I mean? They can get all my stuff. They can get the boats, they can get my truck, they can get the land, they can get whatever, but they cannot get what I have in my head, brother. And
hmm
this what I work with.
do you have to leave in the middle of the night? Do you have
Ac-
to like? What's the plan?
Actually, mm, actually, when they came over to my house, we were at a dinner. So when we came back, kind of see everything destroyed, and then we kind of grabbed whatever we could there, and then we just left right at that moment.
And that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah, yeah, we just bounced, yeah.
You never came back there,
No, I've been out of my state for about a year now.
and
Yeah, because we left around May something because they came over to the beach too. And they couldn't get me there, I guess, because when I was walking away from work, I see one of the guys there, and then he was on the phone and he was looking at me. So I think he was telling his boss or something like, "Oh yeah, he's walking out of Rio right now." I think, but so yeah,
So, what's your thought there? I mean, you've been gone for almost a year, and you took the most important things, which is your family, but you also left everything else behind, not just your business, but any friends you might have. I mean, that's your whole ecosystem. Did that weigh on you?
actually quite a few, because it's really hard for them, because they don't have like the backup anymore like they used to have. Because if something come up, they always call like, "Yo, Romero, where you at? This and that's happening. Okay, I'll be there. Just give me a few minutes," and I'm always there for them. And I feel bad because I cannot do anything. But what can I do? I just gotta make sure that my family is safe, and then after that, see what's gonna come up. I guess.
Hmm. So, when you move, what do you do for business? Like, how are you making ends meet now that you're in a completely different environment?
Okay, actually, I have quite a few customers from years. I mean, they're not customers to be honest; they're friends because I talked to quite a few. And then when they're coming down to Cabos, they're like, "Yo, I want to get a private yacht." Okay, I'll hook you up. I know you're not here, but don't worry. I got you. And then, they set up the boat with me online. Like, you can get on Natalia Water Sports and book a trip there, or in my website, like Jesus Romero. And that's how I kind of, support my family now,
That's
quite,
impressive. Well, and with you, it's the same reason why you and I are friends is, I would go to Cabo and then I wouldn't be back for a year. You wouldn't even know I was coming. And then and I always came right around the same time of the summer, like that same couple of weeks. But
yeah,
I remember being like, "Hey, Zeus." And you turn around and he was like, boom, hey, buddy. Like immediately remembered me every time,
yeah.
and so
Hey, what's up, Drew?
I always thought
My
that was
brother.
cool. And and so I had a radio show too. And when we first met, my radio show was called The Donkey Show.
Yeah.
And then, I would come back year after year and then I would tell you where I was at or what I was doing. And like I'd get these random texts or calls with a Mexico number, and it's like, I know who that is. There's only one guy
Oh,
calling me
yeah.
from Mexico. And so it was a cool friendship. I mean, you even at one point you guys got like little outfits for my kids when they were little, and like they loved those things. And so you were always I didn't necessarily need protection on the beach, but I always felt a little bit safer that you were like right there, and that I always if somebody get a little sideways trying to barter with me, I could just point over to you and they'd be like, all right, it's all good.
Yeah,
Go get
you'll
me a rum
figure it
and
out.
coke.
That's
But
right.
yeah, so I mean, those were great times, and so I think you're right that they can extort you, they can take your money, they can take whatever they want, they can attack, they can hurt, they can throttle your house, but they can't take your mind, and that's what makes you who you are. What are you planning on doing next? Do you think that things will ever calm down to the point where you can return to Cabo, or is that ship completely sailed at this point?
Mm, it's really hard to say, brother, because right now with everything and it's happening in Mexico, it's just bad, brother. Like, how all the corruption, how the government is involved with them. I mean, it just, I don't know. It'll be hard, but to be honest, I've been thinking the best way to do it, that would be just make a big old sale and just walk away.
Hmm.
I already worked enough, I guess.
Well, and that is a tough job, like especially being on the beach all day. That's a lot of sunshine on your body, and everybody does it different. People with big hats or people with, the covering for your face to keep you from, getting cooked all day. But,
Yeah,
it is, I mean, you work many years out there. That's a lot. And people are like, oh, you're just on the beach. No, you're grinding in the heat on the beach.
yeah,
You're not in the water like chilling, you're going hard all the time. So I could see how you'd be tired.
yeah. And now with all the stuff that is happening, like the prices, brother, they're so low. Watch this. You can ride a camel right now for $75 with food, drinks, pickup, and everything. So, okay, if you pay $75, right, for the trip or whatever, you know how I'll be making of that? I'll be making like $10, brother. So it's no point to be on the beach anymore.
Yeah, the money's not there.
No, not anymore. It used to be there, but not
Yeah.
anymore.
I mean, the first time I went there, I just went ham. I bought like 3 pairs of sunglasses that broke in an hour. I had a guy rubbing speed stick on my shoulder, giving me a fake tattoo. Man, I was doing it all right there at the beginning. And the more I went, the more I like learned my lesson about certain things and whatever. But
Yeah.
like taking my kids down to the beach and stuff to like let them barter or whatever. I guess here's a question for you. And I want to do like a whole thing where we just break down that beach experience, but
Okay, okay, yeah.
answer this
I'm
question,
down.
like all these tourists are down there bartering, trying to like get a different price. Is the price set at a basement always, and that it's just where you can bring it up is your profit?
That's right. Yeah. It's always like that.
So you probably never brought it down to the baseline, but like for a buddy, would you bring it close to the baseline?
Yeah, actually close. Like if you're making like if he's a buddy, I mean, you just gotta make like $5 or whatever a person. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like just to
Yeah, a
keep
little
close
profit.
because I have to buy papers to fill out your tickets, fans. I mean, I gotta pay all the station money. I mean, you know what I mean? I gotta put all the
Yeah.
money on something. Yeah.
I totally get it. Well, it's great having you on, and I want to stay in contact. I want to see where you head next. I'm super happy to see you out on the other side of this. I mean, I had a guy on the show a couple of weeks ago who was, he was deep in meth addiction too, and I think we're finding more and more that people who feel lost in drugs can see that there is hope and you can get out of it. It might be a long and winding road, but here you are, looking healthy, have all the color and weight in your face that makes you look healthy. So I'm just stoked to see you out on the other side of it, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank
Where
you,
can
man. I appreciate
if
it.
people want to come? So where are you currently selling excursions at?
Okay. Well, if you get on Facebook, you can find me like Natalia Water Sports on Facebook, or you can go on Instagram, Romero Cabos. Yeah, Romero Cabos on Instagram or TikTok, Romero Cabos. You can just send me a message there, and then I can hook you up. You don't really have to see me. I mean, all you gotta do is gotta enjoy the day. I kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
you are the best, and I will say, you called me right after I lost my job, which I appreciated. And for anybody who hasn't called me, this guy called from Mexico, so shame on yourself. And
Yeah, shame on yourself.
shame on yourself. Well, all right. Well, and you are a grinder. I appreciate you. He's kept his whole family at bay and quiet during this interview. So, a family man, a businessman, and a friend of mine, Jesus Romero. Thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We'll talk soon, bud.
For sure. Take care.